Hello and welcome to the third space, a place where conversations go beyond the obvious and we step into ideas, romantic ideas, inspirations, and stories that help shape who we are. This precious third space intends to be truthful and honest with their conversations and meaningful dialogues. Today, please welcome Divya Kapoor from Nicobar. She's heading their visual merchandise and jewelry design. And I'm really delighted to be in a conversation with her. From her formative years in London and then working with Good Earth under Mrs. Lal, and then one of the core team members bringing up Nicobar with its distinctive style story. Please welcome Divya. I'm so excited to have you here, Divya. Thank you for taking time out. I believe you've been flying across the country and super busy, and you've flown in today especially for us. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me, Devika. It's so nice to be. When we talked the other day, it was just such a nice, free flowing conversation with you, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Great. And I hope this free flowing conversation continues. Today it's, you had mentioned, Divya, about your childhood, and I found that so heartwarming. You said that you're inspired by your mum, and I am too, actually. Her aesthetic sense is, I hope, is what I've inherited. And you mentioned that your mom really loves her plants, her greenery. Tell me something about your childhood.
So my mom, better known as the Empress,
I love that.
because that's really her nickname, is someone who just loves beautiful things
Mm.
and is has always been just so well put together and in a way that is just who she is
Wow.
she embodies it so well. And growing up, I think she really inspired me in a way where she was so house proud, still
Mm.
is. She could look at a plant and it would, sort
Thrive.
of absolutely like smile literally.
Wow.
And I watched her just put the house together and
Mm.
move things around and, take a more scenic route, because then she could, when she dropped me to boarding school, she could, climb trees and pick orchids off it. I mean, I have
Wow.
seen her do crazy things. We lived in a home where we had a garden in this like as a central courtyard,
Wow.
and all our rooms opened out onto it. I think just the way my mom sort of created these different experiences at home
Mm.
is really, really where my love for making things look and feel special has come from. I think I've just watched her and maybe imbibed a tiny bit of it.
So, is there any specific memory or an object that actually shaped you into thinking like this and getting into design?
How I came into design was like it was like a series of different things that happened in my life. I actually studied sociology when I
Mm.
was in college, and whilst I was in college, I did a lot of like grassroots level social work. I worked with children of prostitutes. I worked
Mm.
with a little like sort of self help groups for women. I used to go to the station and work with the kids at the
Wow.
station, and and I was also part of this organization, this international organization called ISEC,
Mm.
where I really learned how to party and again had the opportunity to meet people from so many different cultures. And I think somewhere just this curiosity, you don't realize the things that happen in life that
Yeah.
make you kind of like choose
It's
certain
a series of
paths.
events that just a chain reaction, so to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's like one thing led to
Led
the
to
other.
another.
And I think I just come from a family of people who are really like inspired by the
Mm.
arts in different forms. Like it could be music. My dad's youngest sister is actually a ghazal singer. She's lived
Oh.
in the US her whole life. My chacha started a gallery called Gallery Beyond in the early 2000s. I had an opportunity to work with him for a couple of years. And before I worked with him, I talk about like extremes. I went from doing social work to moving to Bombay and working with Athena, which was this really fun nightclub, very sort of exclusive, very, I think, one of India's first. And my very close friend at the time, her partner is one of the brothers who owned Athena. And from going out and partying with them, it was like, hey, why don't you come work with us and do something fun? I'm sort of like jumping timelines as I'm talking to you, but I'm left Pune, moved to Bombay, worked with my uncle at the
No,
art
I'm
gallery.
from the art gallery straight away to this club.
Yeah, exactly. From the art
That's a fun
gallery
jump.
to the club. And my time at the art gallery was also so interesting because, we're talking about 25 years ago. The art scene in India was just about really getting exciting and beginning at that point. And Gallery Beyond was
Way ahead of its time. I
way
think.
ahead of its time. Thank you. I mean, it's great that you even know of it. And what we did was we worked with artists from all over the country and we bridged the gap between the artists and, say, the larger galleries. Because at the time, we were not, a physical space in terms of a gallery, but we were sort of kind of bringing it all together. We're talking about a time where, I would just watch him in terms of how he curated and picked the art, in the way that there was so much time taken to look at a wall and think of, how everything flows.
So that was shaping you.
Absolutely.
Unknowingly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, it was like, okay, I've done this for a couple of years. I was so young. I was, 21. And
that was the right switch to the club, right time.
Yeah. Right time so that you can like burn the midnight oil and work from like 10 o'clock to 4 a.m.
There's a very interesting story I would love our audience to hear about. What happened at Athena?
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. So one day, so Athena was like this very sort of upmarket club where it was like you had to be a member to enter and all of that. And then when I started working with them, it was like, hey, why don't we build different properties and, change the space around every now and then. So I had started to do events like that and, where the whole space would turn into this like very chilled Buddha bar kind of space with that kind of music. And I did everything from like artist management, figuring out who the DJs would be, to what the look and feel would be. And I cannot even tell you the shoestring budgets that I worked with.
I know, that many years ago.
Yeah. And I mean, now when I look back, I'm just like, how? How is it even possible to do that? So this happened for a bit. And I remember one day while I was setting up, where I was changing this very like sort of pristine white space, turning into this, very loungy Buddha bar kind of space. Someone came up to me and said, "Are you a visual merchandiser?" And I was like, "What?" And and then she started talking to me because I also saw, you start recognizing people that come regularly. And we started talking and she was like, yeah, no, I've just been watching you change the space around. And I was wondering where you've done this from. And I literally had to like, after our conversation, run to my bag and write it down because I had never even heard this term.
I find this so endearing.
And a few years later, it just, it popped in my head one day and I was like, what, I actually researched it. There you go. Like years later, I'm actually a visual merchandiser. But imagine, right? You're like,
Serendipity, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
And that led you to your London chapter.
Yes.
You studied there,
So,
you.
yes. So I actually did a course in display design.
Okay.
And which is really sort of, the way they teach you abroad is so different from the way we are in India. At least at the time it was. And I finished working my sort of Bombay nightlife stint. And I kind of researched what a visual merchandiser is, and I was like, hey, this is great. It doesn't sound as difficult as interiors,
Yeah.
because that means a lot of calculation and floor plans and electrical plans, and I'm not about that. I like the softer things. I like the prettier things.
Curating.
Yeah, little did I know what it really
Yeah.
entails to be a visual merchandiser. But I just sort of like jumped into it, and I put the most horrible portfolio one can
God.
ever imagine. I mean, it was.
Let me stop you there because when I look at my body of work 20 years ago, even I cringe. But I'm sure at that point in time, it wasn't bad at all. So don't be harsh on yourself, right? Or don't.
Yeah, so I landed up in London for this course where pretty much I think we were a class of 25. I was the only Indian, which was great because that meant that I just met, so many more people from different parts of the world. And everybody there had either done fine arts or floristry or had really sort of like done a full on art and design course. And this was just like a nice little top up so that they really knew how to put their body of works together. And display design is actually, it has such a broad application.
Very, yes.
Retail being one of them. The way you learned, on that course was that you were just given projects every term. And all your learning actually came from how you unfolded that project, in terms of what your process was.
Did you actually have to go and do up a space?
So my first project, if I tell you, was I was given this very obscure book to read, but I had to build a puppet, a stage, a traveling stage, write the story, fold up and go into a box or a bag or whatever. And I was like, okay, I've never, held a drill in my life. And I was going to class where I had to learn how to use a bandsaw. And I was like, okay, I'm definitely losing some body parts, not sure about a degree, but may like lose a finger or two.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, London was completely out of my comfort zone.
Was it overwhelming because you mentioned that there were students in your class who had a certain background already?
What I learned from this experience was that all of us bring something to the table that's different. That's kind of like our starting point. And the fact that I had actually worked in spaces, like we were all given the same project. So sometimes, very, very, very often, we even had the same inspiration. So say Andy Warhol may have been an inspiration for a project.
Yes.
But what was amazing was how everybody had their own
Interpretation
of it. And it was always like the end of term was always such an experience. And I like when I look back at it, I realized that was really, really where my learning came from, because you were like, oh wow, this was such a different perspective. I never thought of it. And how the same thing means something so different to somebody
else.
and it's really our culture and our values and the things that we are familiar with that sort of build that narrative, right? So for
and
me,
you could see that in everybody's work, their culture and their values coming out.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So beautiful.
Yeah, and that for me was, I think, my biggest learning in London, because I'd never done an art and design course, and
Yeah.
I just felt like, okay, I think I have a knack for this. So in India, we're brought up with that feeling that, if you haven't studied it, or if you haven't done a
Yeah.
course, or you're not qualified,
You will not be able to do it.
you won't be able to do it. So it was sort of that feeling where it was like, okay, I have a knack for this. I like the idea of design. I want to see where I can go with it. I don't want to do something that has too much calculation.
You also mentioned that while in London, you did a lot of internships with, whether it was Selfridges or tell me something about that.
Yeah, so, like I said, this display design has such a wide application, and I figured that retail would be mine. And so while I was there, I did a lot of internship. I sort of graduated to being at Selfridges, which was always a very tough internship to get. And it was such an experience. I mean, Selfridges, as many floors as it has above the ground, it has that many floors below the ground where all the action and the production happens. So it was such an eye opener in terms of.
Sounds like Hogwarts. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, it was just fascinating to kind of be there and even just watch, even just watch and figure out and see so many people who were like really, really amazing at what they did, so confident. And I always gravitated towards, lifestyle and home brands, because that's something that I feel comes way
So
more
you kind of
naturally.
knew that this is what you want.
I grew into it, Devika. It was, it was like literally like one experience leading to the
To another.
next. But yes, having a beautiful home, being brought up in a space that was really beautiful, that really has been my core in terms of from where all the different little.
Stepping stones, the rest were stepping stones.
Yes, the interest has always been there.
Yeah. And when it was time to come back to India, you chose Good Earth.
This is something that I was very sure of, that if I am doing retail in India, the only brand that I want to work with where the aesthetic and everything about it is so me, in the sense that that's where I'd want to grow and learn, and those are the things that I'd want to be surrounded by. I was very sure that it should be Good Earth. And I don't think I've been that clear about many other things in my life. But this one, I was
so
like,
then you manifested that for yourself.
yeah, and it was not easy, in the sense that I got myself a little apartment in Bombay, and I just moved there and said that, okay, if I have to be here, then I need to really be focused about it. Getting an interview with Mrs. Lal was not easy. But I finally did meet Pavitra Rajaram, and she got me to come in and like change spaces around, and then I finally met Miss Lal, and I think it was the first time that they were actually hiring someone purely just to do visual merchandising. And Mrs. Lal and Pavitra always sort of like design the stores themselves. And
correct.
VM, as visual merchandising is known, was always something that they did. And it was such a big part of, the experience at Good Earth. And she's really somebody that I respect so much. She's so amazing in terms of recognizing people. She creates a space where she allows you to think, and I have so much respect for the clarity that she has in terms of what she wants. Mrs. Lal, really, Anita Lal, she knows the kind of experience that she wants to give to someone. And it doesn't matter how many iterations it may take, but that she doesn't, stop till she gets it right. And I'm always just so in awe of her.
Wow. And then
And
the transition to Nicobar. Tell us that story. How did that happen?
I actually worked in Bombay,
Hmm.
and AL was always trying to like get me to come to Delhi, and it just never happened. I kept making excuses to not move to Delhi, and then there was this conversation about Nicobar and the
Hmm.
new like brand and
Yeah.
all the the whole excitement about this sort of new
Yeah, I feel
idea.
it's such a rooted brand and yet so refreshingly contemporary and quite a shift from how Good Earth is. So, how did that pan out for you?
So I think I got very lucky from a perspective of like, I've gone from doing visual merchandising to product design
Hmm.
without really having studied it or again studied it
Hmm.
or having any experience, so to say. But I would say that my process of visual merchandising really helped me
Hmm.
look and at product. And I would, I'd say that Simran Lal gave me the opportunity to, be part of this new team
Yeah. Core
and
team, I think.
core
Yeah.
team. And I think that when someone trusts you
Hmm.
in a way where they feel like there is something, and and then you kind of like
But you're
evolve.
all in, like you're
Yeah,
all
and
there,
you
right?
evolve with,
Yeah.
we're talking about like Nicobar is almost 10 years old.
Hmm.
And when I look back and I think of all the things that all of us did,
Hmm.
we put our heart, soul, and everything that we had to
I can see that.
to build that brand. And it comes with,
Yeah.
I think, a lot of clarity of vision from both
Hmm.
Simran and Rahul.
Hmm.
And clarity of vision, trust,
Hmm.
bringing in people that are like-minded. So the core design team, Aparna Chandra, Rajiv,
Hmm.
Rohit, Arya Nerkar, and I, like, we've been together with Simran
You're
from
like
day
family
one.
now.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And I think what it is when someone walks into the room and has something to say about, I'll walk into the room and I'll pick on the same colors, or
Yeah.
or have a comment about something in the way that it makes you feel.
Hmm.
um, and we've just been like, it's just been cohesive right from day one.
Hmm.
It's somehow it's just worked out in that way. And I think really Simran has been that person
Hmm.
who's kind of had that vision and has been able to like look at it in a way that she holds it together. We always feel like she's really the soul of the brand.
And y'all are a great team to have as well.
Yeah, and it's been great to have been given that opportunity to
Hmm.
sort of grow into product design. And initially, in the first few years, it was travel has always
Hmm.
been a very, very, very strong pillar of Nicobar's
Hmm.
design inspiration. And I started my journey of product design with heading design for the travel
Wow.
category, where the idea was that when we travel, we should have a lovely wardrobe, which is very functional, fabrics, styles that really allow you to travel in a
May I say
very.
again, ahead of your times with the airport look?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And no, and to get the fabrics right, to
Yeah.
get the idea that our travel look should be different
Hmm.
from what we wear every day. And the pockets, the
Hmm.
details, the fabrics,
Comfort.
comfort,
Hmm.
absolutely should set us apart
Yeah.
in terms of really bringing something unique
Hmm.
um, to the customer.
Absolutely.
And we had so much fun. We designed bags, we designed travel clothes. And then it was one day, it was like, wouldn't it be nice if you just had the perfect kind of jewelry
Yeah.
for when you're traveling, and what are the things that inspire you when you're traveling, and how could that become another layer to what
Added
we
to,
bring to the
yeah.
table at Nicobar. And so, a lot of our design, Devika, has been, of course, with that clarity of, having that voice where it's um, India for the rest of the world,
Yeah.
modernizing the whole modern take of.
I think you all have done that so, so beautifully. And that is what sets Nicobar apart. Because it is an Indian story in such a beautiful contemporary manner. Hats off to you guys. And you mentioned jewelry, right? The one that you're wearing right now. Tell me something about that. That's
Um,
one of my favorite pieces.
so this piece of jewelry really, was the inspiration, was basically puppets and puppet designs
Really?
from the Angkor Wat,
Wow.
um,
Hmm.
region. This is, if you see the little perforations
Yeah.
and things like that, that's where the design inspiration comes from. And of course, everything that we design sort of is all linked to India and the Indian
Hmm.
Ocean. And, we've done so many iterations of the
I love it.
fish. I think that accessories and jewelry just are such an important part of your personality,
Hmm.
in terms of what you pick,
Yeah.
like everything
Like
is.
everything is.
But I think with jewelry, it's special,
Yeah.
and it can just change an outfit
Hmm.
completely and change the way you feel
I mean, you
completely.
could be dressing up very plainly, and that one big piece of jewelry or a little color pop does that for you.
Yeah, and I think that, with jewelry, at least as Indians, I think that there's a lot of nostalgia.
Hmm.
It's always something where, you look back and you feel like, okay, where is it coming from? Is
Hmm.
it something that the whole idea of jewelry, like where you're handed down
Yeah.
um, heirloom pieces or not? For us, I think it's really about not getting stuck in terms of, are we just doing gold? Are we doing,
Hmm.
precious or semi precious stones? But it's about sort of really exploring different
Hmm.
materials, different techniques, embracing glass in such a big
Hmm.
way, creating pieces that have a connection and a feeling.
And a
Like I'm
storyline, there's a nice backstory to it. And that makes it so much more interesting.
Always. So one of the first collections we did is called the Talisman,
Hmm.
and my favorite piece from there is a nimbu slice,
How cute.
and that came from the fact that I love drinking gin and tonics, and that I drank considerable amount of gin and tonics while
In Athena.
working no working at Nicobar,
Oh, interesting.
and it was literally like a slice of lime that we casted
Hmm.
and then dipped that in gold,
Wow.
and it really like reminded us of a certain time and a
Hmm.
certain space. And I think that it's interesting how, for a lot of us, design really is very instinctive,
Hmm.
um, and very much a part of how we want to live. And I think
Absolutely.
that's what's most exciting about Nicobar as well.
How lovely. So, I would love to know what your design philosophy is.
As someone who sort of is constantly putting places together, or like within retail,
Hmm.
you never have like the perfect collection. You never
Hmm.
have all the stock that you may want to do something. And you're always improvising as you go along, even though there's a lot of planning, there's a
Hmm.
lot of thought that goes into it. But I would say that balance, for me, balance is really, really important. The green element, the natural elements that you
Hmm.
bring into a space, because I think that that's what softens everything, that's what brings
That's true.
everything to life. within a space, that's really,
Hmm.
I can't think unless I don't think of the plants first. And
Hmm.
that's what really makes a frame complete for me. That's what actually starts the emotion.
Hmm.
That's my starting point always. And I think my superpower is that I can put things together that don't necessarily make sense.
I just feel layering is also so important in a space. I love layering after I'm done with the design bit and when we are called, you know, to style a space. Layering, you can layer with your objects, you have your rugs, you have your artwork, and Nicobar being a place where it's all about lifestyle. And I see such beautiful products there. By the way, I use a lot of your Nicobar products in styling. I want to know more about how you layer a space.
Creating a space is all about how you build those layers,
Mm.
right? So the walls, the flooring, when we're designing our stores,
Mm.
we literally want every element of the space to kind of embody Nicobar and the
Mm.
design that it stands for. So just playing with colors, playing with textures, playing with different materials, not being scared to put things together.
Mm.
And I think that, what you will see with Nicobar or otherwise is that, I mean, it's like when you walk into a frame, a room,
Mm.
do you look at just the wall, or you
Oh,
look
you
at
look at the entire,
everything.
yeah,
It's
in
in
its entity.
layers,
Yeah,
right? In its
absolutely.
entirety. I think layering is just so much fun,
Yeah.
because there are no rules. You make them work for
Hmm.
yourself. And I think that's where, for me, when you're talking about a design ethos, balance, like,
Yeah.
and layering sort of just go hand in hand, because who says that on a table you can't have linen and
Hmm.
rattan and a beautiful bold fuchsia pink
Correct.
runner, and who says that you can't mix like a brass thali with a beautiful stoneware quarter plate.
Hmm.
It's really about that balance of color, of textures,
Hmm.
of
Materials, different
materials,
materials.
and really of like different dimensions,
Yeah.
right? Like how you play that.
Exactly. And one of the toughest thing to do is to know when to stop, where your balance comes into play. People either will go overboard, they will not know, when to stop or which is the right element to put in. And I think this comes with time and experience.
Absolutely. It comes with time, experience, practice.
Hmm.
And also, one of the biggest things that I've learned is that when you set something up, and this is so true of life as well, right? I think it comes with perspective.
Hmm.
So when you set something up and you're able to take many steps back and look at it,
Yeah.
and look at all of those layers together, and then find and go back and tweak, and get that balance right.
Hmm.
And that's where I think you do that, and then you're like, okay, I need to add this, I need to stop,
Yeah.
I need to take it all out and do it all over again. I think my biggest lesson as a visual merchandiser has been to never to get too attached to what you do,
Hmm.
because it's going to take 5 minutes for someone to come in and move something that you took like the
Hours to
whole night to
place.
do.
Wow. So, I have this very interesting thing that I do when I feel that I have a mental block and I need my creative juices to flow. I have a little ritual that I do. I'll light up my incense sticks or I'll do some just a calming routine, just be with myself, my books. Um, Scuba diving really helps me. What makes your creative juices flow?
Well, if I ever get stuck, I take my dog for a walk.
Oh, how sweet is that? Yes.
Really, I think walking and spending time with tonic, really helps
Oh,
me.
gin and tonic. I love that.
Such a cliche, but yeah, I love my gin and he is my tonic. But in terms of what makes me flow, there are different things. I think when it comes to a space, really understanding the space and what's the experience that you want to create. I think once that that connection has happened in terms of like what you want a space to do for people, um, that's really where the
Yeah.
ideas start flowing, right? Because I always think that um, design is a problem solver.
Absolutely.
And for me, what really makes it exciting for me is where I can put all the green elements, so bringing the outdoors indoors and bringing in life into a space that has a lot of products.
Yeah.
And also figuring how would you want someone to experience the space? How would you want someone to walk through the space? Where is the light coming in? Is there no natural light at all? And then how do you make it still feel like a space where people can discover and people can meander and find things and find spaces that allow them to actually stop. And
Pause, reflect.
when you're in a space and you're looking at product and one thing leads you to the other and
Yeah.
that leads you to another space, and that little part of the discovery, I think that's what makes you come back to a space, because you're like, I really enjoyed what happened to me there. You may not remember it,
Yeah.
but I think that's
It's
what
the
makes you feel
experience, the
come
emotion
back.
that one feels. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for me, my starting point is always in terms of visual merchandising and setting up a space. Even if I'm doing something as simple as a table that has Nicobar's oh so famous alphabet mugs,
Yeah.
I want it to feel as if you are really in your own home. And that's why the kind of table you use, the wood, the plants, what you sort of have around it. You're building little narratives, you're building little experiences, and you're doing them in a way that's very natural. At least that's what the intent
Yeah,
is.
yeah. And so that people can relate to that. And that's what makes it so Nicobar. You are also designing objects, you're creating, curating. Do you feel that objects hold memory?
Oh, absolutely. I think objects hold memory, spaces hold memory, and I think they're all so interlinked. And you know, one is always so subliminally inspired by um, travel and different experiences, and I think it's about how you make something abstract again, which is a feeling, translate that
Into,
into a product or a space.
yeah,
So it's all very interconnected and layered.
and layered, yes.
And
We bring back things from our travels, and then, you look at that thing and it reminds you of that little lane in Italy or wherever you've been to.
yeah, and colors.
And
I mean,
colors.
yeah.
And even smells, fragrances. Even that just is nostalgia.
It's something that you identify with. It also makes you feel um, safe. It also makes you feel like I belong here because of that association.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that I learned really from watching Mrs. Lal, Anita Lal, where when we're talking about layers again, um, and we're talking about fragrances, she taught me that it's never about just one fragrance. It's about how, even when you're doing a self-care routine, it's how an oil, which is your first layer, mixes with, it could be a cream, and then the way your room smells. And so if you really, when you walk into a Nicobar and you walk into a Good Earth, till today, I think for us, it's always about a
You're greeted with
sensory.
the fragrance first and then you
Yes,
enter the space.
yes. It's always a
Absolutely.
sensory experience. You have that
Mm.
lovely fragrance that becomes familiar.
Mm.
For me at Good Earth, it's always the
Yeah.
tuberose. At Nicobar, it's
Yeah.
neroli. And then it's about the visual. Then it's about the touch, the
Yeah.
fabrics that we use. We always use natural
Mm.
fabrics. So it's really such a sensory sort of experience, and that's how we want our lives to be, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is one way of celebrating India and Indian craftsmanship. I mean, we really have a beautiful plethora of craftsmanship with us, and these two brands are actually bringing that to the front. Having said that, you've designed products, you all have so many things under your belt, and behind you is a beautiful Nicobar tile. How did that come into play? How did you all collaborate with FCML? And what was the thought process behind that?
So I'll tell you, it was Raul and Abhinav um, met at a party,
Hmm.
and just as lovely things happen over just informal
Yeah.
conversations, I think FCML had started designing and still is designing with so many designers that
Yeah.
are not, architects or interior
Yeah.
designers, are not from the field, but it's about, again,
Yeah.
about someone's inspiration
Hmm.
coming into a product that you don't think is just what you would expect.
Correct.
But I think for Nicobar at the time, it just seemed the right collaboration because we are a lifestyle brand.
Hmm.
And why shouldn't our whimsical designs be part of your home in terms of
Why not?
your walls and your floors, right? So it just seemed like the next best thing to do.
Yeah.
And again, I keep going back to having clarity in
Hmm.
terms of what you want as a brand. And I think Simran holds that so
Hmm.
well, as does Abhinav, in
Hmm.
terms of details and what they
Yeah.
bring to the table. And it was just it's been such a fun project to
Hmm.
work with Poonam and Shanvi from the FCML team, whom I know
Yeah.
you know really well.
Yes.
And doing a product that you don't know. I knew nothing about tiles,
Hmm.
knew nothing about the materials, but it's just how it started with an
Hmm.
idea. Okay, where all can we see our tiles?
Hmm.
So we did them as pool tiles. We, made a mood board where it was like, okay, let's have them on bars,
Hmm.
lovely outdoor
Hmm.
bars. Have them as part of your kitchen, have them as part of like little niches in the
Yeah.
home. Again, nothing to do with product,
Hmm.
but to do with the experience.
Hmm.
And I think they were also looking for something fun and
Yeah, it's so
whimsical.
playful, whimsical, and I love the color range also that you've come up with. And the textures. It is so Nicobar. You can, walk around the store, and when you look at this, you know it is Nicobar.
So our stoneware kind of just went from a cup to
Into
the
that,
wall.
into the wall.
And yeah, and we did a couple of iterations.
Hmm.
Our first ones were um, nice and glossy.
Hmm.
And then we sort of graduated into this and this
Hmm.
sort of tumbled
Yeah.
texture, which really goes with our stoneware. And
Yes.
it's the same sort of
Hmm.
earthy, classic
Yeah.
colors. And then all our whimsical motifs.
Absolutely. Great. Now, something to do with the design and the human side. Beyond aesthetics, beyond all of this, how does design motivate you? Is it on a daily basis, or do you have your moments where you just don't want to think design? How do you come across these blocks?
Devika, I think that it becomes part of your DNA. It just becomes part of who you are.
Hmm.
And I think that going to a cafe that makes you feel a certain way, drinking a particular kind of coffee that you have, again, it's something that you've arrived at in terms of
Correct.
trying
Yeah.
different things and then, get to that point. I think design it is very much part of our everyday life. I mean, what isn't design, right?
I have my tagline on the Instagram bio, which I firmly believe in, that design is everywhere. Go discover. It's literally everywhere, good
Yes,
or bad, but there is
yes.
design
And
everywhere.
I think that, maybe what I would like to say is that I don't think that design is just about knowing how to put a space together or understanding colors. And I think that it's such a misconception to feel that only art and design is where design comes in. It's anyone who is able to do anything in a manner that is really well put together, makes you think a certain way, makes you feel a certain way, um, teaches you something. I think design is in every aspect of our lives, right?
Absolutely.
Um, how you use something, um, really why you use something, in fact, comes from good design. Why do I use a certain app? Why do I um, you know go to a brand that has cushions that feel a certain way? It's not just about color and the way they that things look. And I think that it's just how you consume. Even food, again, we go back to our layers, we go back to just our everyday. And I think for me, what makes me really excited about being part of a brand like Nicobar is that it's really about, a thought process. It's really about tapping into the way you think and the way you feel, the way you want to consume, and are you mindful,
Most important.
and what are the things that excite you in terms of um, whether it's travel, whether it's not. It could be anything, but I think what we're trying to do is um, tap into a certain kind of person who's really sort of curious and at the same time very nuanced and knows what they want, at the same time very happy to discover.
Or explore.
Exactly.
Even for people who don't know what they want, when they reach the space, the way you've curated the space, they sort of discover themselves and discover what they like. Yeah.
Yeah.
How lovely. So, outside of your work, what keeps you inspired and what keeps you going?
I'm very interested in energy work,
Wow.
and I've been, and because as how much I love dogs, I've studied animal communication. I have done a little
Wow.
bit of pranic healing, and I'm really sort of interested in that world. And so I actually listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yay. Will you be our
and
first listener?
and that whole aspect of um, you know life and connecting and understanding how you can grow in that space, which is beyond just the physical. It really interests me, and I spend a lot of time experiencing that space. So whether it's um, listening to somebody like a Nitya Shanti or attending a lot of like just little courses like this, I feel like that's my.
That's what grounds you and keeps you
Yeah, I
rooted.
think it's something that I'm just interested in, and just like everything else in life, something brought me there, and I've just been experiencing lots of different little courses and learning them, and I hope I have more time. I've done a couple of courses in Bach flower remedies,
Oh, lovely. I have a
and
friend who does that, and it's incredible.
it's so
It is so
fascinating.
fascinating.
And I would just like to kind of like hone my skills there and spend more time doing all of that as
I'll
well.
come to you for that then.
All
How
right.
interesting is that?
And yeah, that's that space, and anything that I can do with dogs is really something that that makes me happy.
Nice. What do you think the future of Indian design needs right now? Are we there yet?
I would say that I think India is it's a this is such an exciting question, and it's such an exciting space, because I think India is just, firstly, we have the richest culture in when it comes to art, design, music, fashion. I mean, that there are so many young designers, artists, um, and people in different fields that are coming together in a way where I think like designer and artisan collaborations are going to be more. I see that tech is going to play such a big role in in taking us to the next level. And I think for me, what's really exciting is that India has all of it. It has the art, the culture, it has the new set of consumers that are so into ideas of circular design, sustainability. And I think that everyone is working towards it. I mean, today you open Instagram and you see young designers that are just sort of going back and bringing back craft in a lovely way. And that's just one tiny aspect where I think modern India is just kick-ass.
Amazing. And I would love to see Nicobar in the global arena.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that's something that's very exciting for us as well. And that's work in progress, something in the
Awesome.
pipeline. And yeah, I think it's just a great time um, for India, because we've really got everything, and I think we have so many inspired people.
So, Divya, what's next for you and your journey?
I would say I'm really excited about Nicobar potentially going abroad. And in terms of what's next for me in my journey, um, I think I'm just waiting to see what's the next project that finds me in a way that, I'm able to go from visual merchandising to jewelry to tiles, and and I'm just waiting to see what else comes my way, because I'm just excited to try new things in the design space.
I think that's so well put because when you're creative, I think you're able to do different things at different times. And you also just evolve with it, correct?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
How lovely. Thank you so much, Divya. It's such a pleasure having you here and hearing your exciting stories, your design philosophy, your inspirations, what makes you tick. It's just been incredible having you here. Thank you so very much.
No, thank you. It's been so humbling to sort of be able to just, talk about it, and also be grateful for all the different people that inspired you, believed in you, and allowed you to be. And it's always with everything that we do. There's always a team. There are so many people that come together.
Yeah.
And I think I would just like take this as an opportunity to say thank you to all of them.
How sweet, how lovely. Really inspirational hearing you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Oh. To our listeners, I hope this episode has inspired you to look at the everyday with curiosity and with intent. This is the third space powered by FCML. where we come up with different ideas, we meet different people, and we are inspired with their work and body of work. Until next time, till we meet again. Ciao.